The station lights were dim and quiet when Ravax opened his eyes. It was the deep hour of the night cycle on Space Academy Sigma 9. A giant metal world floating in orbit above a blue gas giant. Most students slept peacefully inside their dorm rooms, dreaming of future missions and big victories. But Ravax was awake, and something felt wrong. Ravax, a tall reptilian alien with 4 arms and green scales, was not someone who woke up easily. His species, the Varkeen, slept almost like stone statues still. Cold, and extremely sensitive about their personal space, especially their sleeping space. Their bed was almost sacred to them, a place no one else should touch. Yet tonight, Ravax felt weight on his tail. A strange pressure. He twitched one eye open, hoping it was just a blanket falling in a weird way. But when he moved his tail slightly, the weight shifted. Slowly, carefully, he lifted his head. And then he froze. There, on his bed, right on top of his tail, was Eli Turner, his human roommate, sleeping like a tired star cub. Eli's arms were wrapped around Ravax's blanket. His legs were spread in a chaotic way only humans seemed to find comfortable. He snored softly with his face half buried in Ravax's pillow. Ravax's heart almost stopped. No. No, no, no. This was the worst kind of problem a Varkeen could imagine. Their sleeping bed was private. Very private. In Varkeen culture, letting someone on your bed was something done only with close family or lifelong partners, not with a loud, careless human roommate who left socks everywhere and touched things that shouldn't be touched. Ravax whispered in panic. Why? Why must this happen to me? He tapped Eli's shoulder with one small upper hand. Humans were fragile. He did not want to accidentally break anything. Eli, he whispered. Wake up. You are on my bed. This is... Eli didn't move. Ravax poked a little harder. Eli groaned and rolled slightly, curling even deeper into the blanket. Ravax stiffened. This was becoming a nightmare. He tried again. Human, please. You must wake up. Still nothing. Ravax considered shouting, but shouting at a sleeping human seemed like a bad idea. Humans reacted strangely to loud noises. Some jumped. Some panicked. Some punched. But before he could decide what to do, the entire dorm room's lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then the walls hummed loudly, as if the station itself was trying to speak. Ravax's panic shifted instantly from personal discomfort to genuine fear. Eli, he whispered urgently. Something is wrong with the station. Wake up. Eli didn't wake up. The lights flickered again. This time accompanied by a low rumble that shook the floor. Ravax grabbed one bedpost to steady himself. He knew Sigma 9 well. This was not a normal disturbance. The academy was stable, controlled, and secure. Rumbles like this meant something serious. A moment later, a soft alarm beeped from the wall console. Not the loud red alert, but the quiet blue one. System instability warning. This was worse. The bed vibrated lightly. Eli snorted, rolled to the side, and suddenly slipped off the bed with a loud thump. Ravax sighed in relief. Finally. Eli's eyes shot open as he lay on the floor. Ow, what happened? Ravax? Why am I on the ground? You were on my bed, Ravax said, struggling to keep his voice calm. You were... sleeping on my tail. Eli blinked in confusion. Still half asleep. Really? Oh. Sorry. I think I was sleepwalking again. Ravax flared his nostrils. Again? I told you humans do that sometimes, Eli said, rubbing his head. It's normal. For humans, Ravax muttered. But before they could argue further, the room shook again, harder. This time, the lights didn't flicker back on. They stayed dim. A strange purple glow leaked from the hallway outside. That doesn't look normal, Eli whispered. Ravax jumped out of bed and grabbed his emergency pack from under the night table. We must go. Something is wrong with the station systems. Eli stood quickly, pulling on his boots. Do you think it's just a power glitch? No, Ravax said. I have lived on Sigma 9 for 2 years. They ran to the door. It opened halfway, then jammed with a metallic groan. Great, Eli muttered. The doors are stuck. Ravax pushed with 2 of his arms, while Eli pulled from the other side. After a long struggle, they managed to squeeze through the gap into the hallway. Outside, chaos had already started. Students from different species filled the corridor, some shouting, some confused, some panicking. The lights blinked weakly. The purple glow came from the ceiling panels, pulsing like a heartbeat. What is that? Eli asked. I do not know, Ravax answered. But the station AI would not allow something like this unless... A sudden shriek echoed through the hallway. Not from a creature but from the intercom system. Warning, said the AI voice, crackling. Eli looked around. No one is calm. The floor shook again. A group of small alien students fell over. Eli helped 2 of them up, while Ravax kept watch. We should go to the safe zone, Ravax said. It will be secure. But look at the crowd, Eli replied. We'll be stuck for hours trying to move through them. He was right. The hallway was full, bodies pushing and stumbling, everyone trying to reach the main lift. Ravax took a deep breath. Then, we go the other way. 1. What way? Eli asked. Ravax pointed down a side hallway that was almost empty. The maintenance path. Only staff and authorized students can enter. And we're not authorized. No, Ravax said. But the door might be broken like everything else. They ran. As they reached the maintenance door, the panel blinked uncertainly between red and green. Eli touched it. It slid open halfway and then froze. That's good enough, Eli said, slipping through. Ravax followed, using his 4 arms to pull himself inside. The door jammed shut behind them. Inside the maintenance tunnel, everything was quiet. No panicking students. No screaming alarms. Only the metallic hum of the station and the distant pulsing of the purple light. Creepy, Eli said. Ravax agreed silently. They walked deeper into the tunnel. Pipes hissed softly. Wires flickered overhead. Tools lay scattered on the floor, as if someone left in a hurry. Then Ravax's tail twitched. He felt something. A vibration. Not from the floor. Not from the walls. From the air. Stop, he whispered. Eli froze. What is it? Ravax pointed down the tunnel. Far ahead, near a corner. A soft, crackling glow appeared. The same purple color they saw in the hallway, but stronger, brighter. A thin line floated in the air. A glowing line, like a tear, in reality. What is that? Eli whispered. Ravax swallowed hard. A fracture. A dimensional fracture. That sounds really bad. It is, Ravax said. Dimensional fractures do not happen naturally. Something made it. They approached slowly but only enough to see clearly. The glowing tear widened. A soft metallic sound echoed. Then tiny machines no bigger than insects crawled out of the fracture, one by one. Their bodies were silver and smooth. Their eyes glowed blue. They walked in perfect formation, scanning the tunnel with thin laser lines. Eli's voice was barely a breath. Are those alive? They are machines, Ravax said. But not any machines I know. One of the little creatures turned. Its blue eye focused directly on Eli. It projected a hologram, a strange map of Eli's body, with energy readings marked around his chest and head. Ravax stepped back. They are scanning you. Why me? Eli whispered. Ravax didn't know, but he had a very bad feeling that this night was only the beginning, and nothing about it involved normal sleepwalking. Eli stood frozen in the dim tunnel, while the tiny metallic creature stared up at him with its glowing blue eye. The hologram it projected around his body flickered like a floating blueprint. Each line of light traced the outline of a human shape. highlighting the chest, spine, and head, as if those areas were important. Ravax felt a cold shiver run through his scales. "Eli," he whispered, "stay still." Eli barely breathed. "I am staying still, very still." More of the strange machines crawled out of the dimensional fracture. Dozens. Then, hundreds. They moved with perfect timing, like they shared one mind. Their tiny metal legs clicked sharply on the floor as they spread out across the tunnel walls and ceiling. Ravax pulled Eli back with two of his upper hands. "We must leave, now." "But what about the fracture?" Eli asked. "Shouldn't we report it?" "Yes," Ravax said firmly. "But we cannot report anything if we are captured or scanned for reasons we do not understand." One of the larger machines, the size of a fist, floated out of the fracture. It hovered in the air with soft humming sounds, rotating like a small drone. Unlike the others, its eye was purple, not blue. The purple-eyed drone focused on Eli and made a sharp beeping noise. Eli jumped. "Okay, that doesn't sound friendly." Ravax grabbed his arm. "Move." They ran. The machines reacted instantly. Their tiny legs moved faster than before, chasing after them with terrifying speed. Their metal feet tapped rapidly, like a swarm of insects chasing prey. Eli looked back. "They're following us." "I can see that," Ravax said, sprinting on his strong legs. The tunnel shook slightly as the fracture behind them pulsed with more purple energy. Ravax didn't dare to imagine what might come through next. They reached the end of the maintenance tunnel and slammed into a sealed door. "It won't open," Eli said, tapping the control panel. The lights flickered uselessly. Ravax used all four arms to pull it manually, but the door barely moved. Behind them, the metallic swarm grew louder. Eli stepped forward. "Move aside." He grabbed a long metal toolbox lying on the floor and smashed it against the door lever. The panel sparked. Ravax jumped back from the flash. The door creaked, then slowly slid open just enough. "Go," Eli shouted. Ravax squeezed through first, using his four arms to pull himself into the next hallway. Eli followed right after him, and as soon as they were out, Ravax pushed the door shut. He looked around for something heavy. There was a broken storage bar lying nearby. Ravax used it to jam the door shut as the machines slammed into it from the other side. Eli panted. "That won't hold them long." "It does not need to," Ravax said. "We just need time." The hallway they now stood in was different from the main student area. It had large pipes running along the walls, and a long metal walkway above. Warning lights blinked weakly. The purple glow from the fracture still faintly pulsed through the air. Eli leaned against the wall to catch his breath. "Ravax, what were those things? Why were they scanning me?" "One. Ravax. Ravax." Ravax shook his head. "I have never seen machines like that. They are not from the station. They came through the fracture, meaning they are from somewhere else. Another dimension? Possibly." Eli rubbed the back of his neck. "Great. And, apparently, I'm interesting to them." Ravax stared at him seriously. "This is not a good thing, Eli. Humans have strong bioelectrical fields, much stronger than most species. It is possible these machines detected that. Most, much stronger. So they chased me because I'm glowing on some energy scale?" "Yes," Ravax said. "And your energy might be what they want." Eli blinked. "That's not comforting at all." Before they could discuss further, the station shook again. A loud alarm blared through the hallway, followed by the shaky voice of the AI. "Alert. Unknown energy surge detected. Systems failing. Cadets proceed to emergency rooms." Eli looked around at the empty hallway. "We're far from any emergency room." Ravax sighed. "Yes, We took a shortcut that has become a long problem. Suddenly, a group of instructors and senior cadets ran into the hallway from the far end. They wore emergency suits and carried portable shields. One of the instructors, a tall insectoid alien named Instructor Thyre, spotted them. "You two," Thyre shouted. "What are you doing in this sector? All cadets are supposed to be in safe zones." Eli exchanged a quick look with Ravax. Then he said, "We have a problem. A big problem." Thyre marched toward them. "Explain." Ravax gestured behind them. "There is a dimensional fracture in the maintenance tunnel. Machines came through it." Thyre froze. His wings twitched nervously. "A fracture? Are you certain?" "Yes," Ravax said. "I saw it with my own eyes." Eli nodded. "And the machine scanned me for some reason." Quote. Another instructor gasped. "The machines targeted a human? That is extremely dangerous." Eli frowned. "Humans emit high-energy signatures," Thyre said. "Powerful, unpredictable energy. If the machines detected it, they may consider you a high-value target." Eli swallowed hard. "So, I'm basically a walking battery to them." "That is one way to put it," Thyre said. "We must take you to the command deck. The leaders need to know." Ravax stepped forward. "I am going with him." Thyre gave him a quick look. "That is acceptable. You witnessed the event." The instructors formed a protective formation around Eli and Ravax. Together, they moved down the hallway. The station continued shaking. Sparks fell from the ceiling. Students ran in panic in far corridors. The purple energy flickered in strange patterns along the metal walls. Eli felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Is the whole station failing?" "Not yet," Thyre said, "but soon, if we do not solve this." As they approached the command deck doors, a loud crack echoed behind them. Ravax turned sharply. The maintenance door they had jammed shut earlier was glowing. More purple light seeped from the edges. "Oh no," Ravax whispered. "They're coming." The instructors activated their shields. A large crack formed in the metal door. Tiny legs clicked inside. Thyre shouted, "Inside the command deck! Now!" Everyone rushed forward as the command deck doors slid open. Eli and Ravax ran in first, followed by the instructors. The doors slammed shut behind them, and a second later, the sound of metallic feet hit the outside. Eli felt his heart pounding. Inside the command deck, dozens of screens displayed chaotic readings. The Academy leaders, a mix of alien species, stood around a central hologram table showing the whole station. One of the leaders, a tall crystalline alien named Director Calith, turned sharply. "What is happening? Why is a human cadet being escorted here?" Thyre pointed at Eli. "He was targeted by machines from the dimensional fracture." Gasps spread around the room. Calith stepped closer, glowing faintly from internal light. "A fracture? On this station?" Ravax bowed in respect. "Yes, Director. I saw it myself." The machines scanned Eli for his energy. Calith's eyes brightened. "Human energy. They must be seeking a power source." Eli raised his hand. "Can we maybe talk about this without making me sound like a battery?" Calith ignored his joke. "If those machines take your energy, it could power whatever opened that fracture. That cannot be allowed." "What do we do?" Eli asked quietly. The leaders exchanged glances. Fear filled their faces. Calith finally spoke. "You must become bait." Eli blinked. Ravax stepped protectively beside him. "Director, that is too dangerous." "It is the only way," Calith said. "We will lure the machines into a sealed chamber and trap them with magnetic collapse fields. But we need the machines to follow something powerful, something they want." Eli sighed heavily. "You mean me." Line. 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 Caliph nodded. You are the only one who can attract them. Eli rubbed his forehead. This day keeps getting worse. Ravax placed one of his hands on Eli's shoulder. I will go with you. Eli looked at him in surprise. You will? Yes, Ravax said with determination. We face this together. For the first time since waking up on Ravax's bed, Eli felt something steady in his chest. Hope. But the machines were already breaking through the outer doors. Time was running out. The loud banging on the outer command deck doors grew stronger. Each strike sent a vibration through the metal floor, and every leader in the room tightened their posture. The swarm of metallic creatures was close, too close. Their clicking legs and sharp taps echoed like 1,000 tiny knives scratching the walls. Eli stood beside Ravax, trying to keep his breathing steady. He knew he wasn't the strongest, or the smartest, or the bravest cadet on Sigma 9. But right now, he didn't have a choice. Those machines wanted him. And if he didn't help the Academy stop them, everyone on the station could be in danger. Director Caliph activated the hologram table. A glowing projection of the station appeared, spinning slowly. She pointed to a circular room near the lower center. This is the magnetic collapse chamber. It is used to contain unstable equipment and dangerous energy experiments. If we lure the machines into this chamber, we can seal them inside. Eli nodded slowly. And then what? Crush them? Not crush, Caliph said. Collapse their systems, turn them inactive. It will prevent them from sending more power to the fracture. It may even close it. Ravax crossed two of his arms while the other two hung at his sides. But how do we get the machines to follow Eli without harming him? Another leader stepped forward, a short, fluffy species named Professor Ulix. We can attach a portable energy amplifier to the human. It will boost his energy field, making him the strongest signal in the entire station. Eli raised a brow. So, super, glowing, battery mode? Yes, Ulix said proudly. Ravax sighed loudly. This is a very bad idea. Caliph placed a gentle crystalline hand on Ravax's arm. It is dangerous, but it is our only chance. If the machines reach the power core, the station will not survive. A loud crack came from behind them. The outer doors bent inward. Eli swallowed hard. Okay. So, how do we do this? Quickly? Several instructors rushed to the equipment room and returned with a small device the size of a backpack. It had glowing rings on the back and long tubes attached to a chest plate. Eli frowned. This looks like it came out of a sci-fi movie. Thayer tapped the device. It will increase the energy around your body by 300%. The machines will sense it immediately. That sounds dangerous. Yes, Thayer said calmly. Ravax groaned. Humans always agree to crazy plans. Eli smirked. Not always. Just today. The instructors helped Eli put on the device, tightening straps around his chest, waist, and shoulders. When they activated it, the rings on his back began to glow bright white. Eli felt a warm buzzing around his skin like static electricity spreading through his entire body. Ravax watched carefully. Are you well? Eli nodded. Weird feeling. Like I'm plugged into an invisible charger. But yeah, I'm okay. Caliph moved to the door, leading to the lower levels. We must leave now. The machines will break through. Any moment. They opened the inner door and guided Eli and Ravax into a long hallway that led downward toward the magnetic chamber. The entire path was dim, lit only by emergency panels. Colors flashed red, blue, and purple in random patterns. As they made their way down the metal stairs, Eli asked quietly, Ravax, do you ever think maybe being my roommate was a mistake? Ravax flicked his tail. Every day. Eli laughed softly. Thanks. That makes me feel better. But, Ravax added, I am your friend now. So I regret nothing. Eli stopped for a moment. Really? Yes, Ravax said simply. Really. They continued down the stairs as the station shook with every distant impact. Pipes rattled overhead. Sparks fell in some places. The magnetic chamber was still far below. Suddenly, the lights in the hallway flickered again. Then, they completely shut off. Everything went dark. Eli froze. Is that normal? No, Ravax whispered. This is very bad. Then, from behind them, came the sound of 1,000 tiny metal legs. Click, 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 click. The swarm had found them. Eli's heart raced. They're close. Really close. Ravax grabbed Eli's arm. Run. They sprinted through the darkness, guided only by Eli's glowing energy backpack. The white light illuminated the hallway, casting shadowy shapes behind them. Long shapes. Moving shapes. The swarm turned the corner and came rushing forward like a silver tidal wave. Small drones leapt onto the walls and ceiling. Their blue eyes locked onto Eli like hungry predators. Faster! Ravax yelled. I'm trying, Eli responded, breathing hard. Ravax grabbed Eli with two of his upper arms and practically dragged him forward with surprising strength. Aliens passed them in the opposite direction, some fleeing, some calling for help, some shouting warnings. One small alien tripped and fell. Eli stopped immediately. Ravax! Wait! Help him! Ravax skidded to a stop. They grabbed the small student, who looked like a floating jellyfish with tiny limbs, and helped him stand. Go to the safe room, Eli said. The jellyfish student wobbled away as fast as he could. But the short delay was enough. The swarm grew louder. They were almost upon them. Ravax pulled Eli into a side passage, and they slammed the heavy door shut behind them. They could still hear the tiny bodies crashing against the other side. Eli leaned against the wall, panting. Ravax. Thank you for not leaving that kid. Ravax snorted. You are a bad influence. I am learning your strange human compassion. Eli smiled. You're welcome. They continued deeper into the lower levels. Finally, after several minutes, they reached a large circular door with yellow hazard stripes. The magnetic collapse chamber. Finally, Eli whispered. Instructor Thayer and two engineers were already there, working quickly on the control panels. Good, Thayer said. You both made it. The machines will be here soon. He pointed to the middle of the chamber. Eli, stand there. The chamber will activate when the swarm enters. Eli stepped onto the circular platform. The glowing rings behind him hummed louder. Ravax stayed beside him. Thayer frowned. Ravax, only the human needs to be inside. No, Ravax said. If the machines attack, I am not leaving him alone. Thayer sighed. Very well. The engineers opened the chamber door, allowing Eli's energy to spill outward like a beacon. A few seconds later, the sound came. Click, click, click. The machines poured into the hallway like a silver river. The small ones rushed forward. The larger floating drones glowed bright blue, and behind them came the purple-eyed drone, the one that scanned Eli first. Ravax stepped in front of Eli, spreading his forearms wide. Stay behind me. Stay behind me. Eli swallowed. Ravax, are you sure about this? I am not, Ravax admitted. But I am here. The machines moved closer, drawn to Eli's energy. The engineers outside shouted, Stand still. Keep them inside. Eli forced himself not to run. The swarm surrounded them from all sides. Tiny metal bodies crawled along the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Their blue eyes flashed rapidly. Then the purple drone stopped right in front of Eli's chest. It made the same sharp beeping sound as before. Eli whispered, Ravax, I don't like that sound. Neither do I, Ravax said. Behind the glass wall, Kalith shouted, Prepare the magnetic collapse. The machines moved even closer. Eli felt their cold metal bodies brushing his boots. Ravax tried to push some away, but they jumped back, almost playfully. Then Thyre shouted, "Now!" The chamber filled with a deep humming noise. The magnetic plates beneath Eli and Ravax began to activate. Energy ripples shot through the air. The lights brightened to a blinding white. The machines reacted instantly. The swarm rose into the air like a storm cloud, their bodies buzzing and spinning. The blue lights in their eyes flickered wildly. The purple drone released a loud mechanical screech. Eli shouted, "Ravax! What's happening?" Ravax grabbed his arm tightly. "Hold on." The magnetic collapse field reached full power. A white explosion of energy filled the chamber, and everything went silent. The station lights were dim when the final alarms began to echo through the metal halls. Aaron stood near the main viewing window, watching the storm of lights outside. The cosmic burst that Dareen had predicted was no longer a threat, it was already here. A shimmering wall of unstable energy waves moved like a giant tide across space, bending stars and pulling fragments of dark matter with it. Aaron felt the vibration through the floor and tightened his grip on the railing. The station felt so small, so helpless in front of that cosmic force. But he was not alone. Darren rushed to Aaron's side, still wearing the wrist device that recorded every change in the energy field. His face was serious, but there was also something calm in his eyes, almost like he had accepted the danger before it even arrived. "The wave is stronger than expected," Darren said, breathless. "But I know how we can survive it." Aaron turned to him slowly. "You sound too calm for someone who says that." "It's not calm," Darren replied. "It's trust. Trust in the math, trust in the station, and trust in us." Aaron blinked, surprised at the last word. He had seen Darren do impossible things, already predict energy patterns, fix half-broken generators, and understand alien technology far faster than any human should. But he had never heard Darren speak like this before. "What do you mean us?" Aaron asked. Darren looked at him without fear. "I mean that we can survive this only if we work together. Human and alien. Roommates or not, we were chosen for a reason. And tonight, that reason becomes clear." Before Aaron could answer, the station shook again. A bright light flashed outside like lightning hitting the hull. "We need to move," Darren said. "Follow me." The core room. The two ran through the hallways as more alarms echoed overhead. The air smelled like heated metal. Doors opened automatically, recognizing their emergency clearance. When they reached the core room, Aaron froze for a moment. He had never seen the energy core so unstable. Lines of blue plasma pulsed in sharp, uneven patterns. Sparks jumped from one conductor to another. "This doesn't look good," Aaron whispered. "It's not," Darren agreed. "But it's still fixable." Aaron raised a brow. "Fixable? It looks like it's ready to explode. That's why we have to stabilize it before the cosmic wave hits," Darren replied. "If we don't, the blast will tear the station apart." Aaron swallowed. "Okay, tell me what to do." For the first time since they met, Darren seemed relieved. "You need to monitor the power flow. If the line turns red, call it out. I'll adjust the energy regulators manually." "Manually?" Aaron gasped. "But the regulators are near the plasma channels. One wrong move, and—" "I know," Darren said softly. "But this is the only way." Aaron stared at him. Dareen had always been brave, but this was different. This was risking everything. Darren smiled faintly. "Don't worry. Humans are tougher than they look, remember?" Aaron felt something warm shift inside him. He nodded. We, AP, let's do it." The cosmic wave arrives. As Darren stepped toward the regulators, a loud humming filled the core. The cosmic wave had reached the outer layer of the station. Through the glass barrier, Aaron could see the lights flicker and twist. The whole room vibrated. "Flow level rising," Aaron shouted. Darren shifted the controls with quick, precise movements. His hands moved like he had practiced this many times. The power level dropped slightly. "Good," Aaron said. "Keep going." But the wave grew stronger. A deep, heavy rumble echoed through the station. Lights switched to emergency mode. Aaron's screen turned red. "Power spike. It's rising too fast." Darren took a deep breath. "Diverting secondary flow. Hold steady." Aaron did, but the station didn't. With a sudden jolt, everything shook. One of the plasma channels burst, sending a small wave of blue sparks across the room. Aaron ducked, heart racing. Darren staggered, but stayed on his feet. They were running out of time. "What now?" Aaron shouted. Darren checked a screen next to him. His eyes widened. "We're overloaded. Someone needs to manually redirect the energy through the outer conduit." Aaron blinked. "Someone?" "It has to be you," Darren said. Aaron shook his head immediately. "Me? I don't even understand half of this tech." "You don't need to," Darren replied calmly. "You just need to follow instructions. You're fast, careful, and you don't panic. I've seen it. You can do this." Aaron stared at him, stunned. No one had ever spoken about him like that. Especially not an alien scientist who could easily outthink him. "You really trust me that much?" Aaron whispered. Darren nodded once. "With my life." Aaron felt a strange mix of pride and fear, but he didn't hesitate anymore. He ran to the outer conduit. A moment of truth. The conduit chamber was filled with humming vibrations. Aaron's hands shook, but he followed Darren's instructions exactly. Twist the first valve, done. Open the secondary gate, done. Switch the panel to manual mode, done. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed across the chamber. "Aaron, are you okay?" Darren called. "I'm fine," Aaron shouted back. But when he looked down, he realized something terrifying. The main lever needed both hands to pull. And the moment he grabbed it, the conduit began heating up. The metal under his fingers grew warmer and warmer. "If I let go," he whispered, "the whole line will overload." Darren must have understood because he suddenly ran toward Aaron. "Don't move," Darren said. "I'm coming." "No," Aaron yelled. "You need to keep the regulators stable. If you leave them, the core will collapse." For a moment, the two stared at each other across sparks and shaking metal. Then Darren said softly, "Aaron, you can't do this alone." Aaron clenched his teeth. "I can, and I will, because you trusted me first." With a final pull, he dragged the lever down. The conduit exploded with a bright glow, but then the lights stabilized. The power lines shifted from red to yellow, and finally to green. Aaron collapsed forward, breathing hard. Darren ran to him and grabbed his shoulders. "You did it," Darren whispered. "You actually did it." Aaron smiled weakly. "Told you I could handle it." After the storm. 10 minutes later, the cosmic wave passed. The station stopped shaking. The alarms turned off one by one. Aaron and Darren sat side by side on the floor, exhausted but alive. Darren looked at him with a soft expression. "I meant what I said earlier. Humans really are tougher than they look." "Telf." "Darren." Aaron laughed quietly. "And aliens are braver than they pretend." For a long moment, they simply breathed, grateful to be alive. The fear from the night was gone. What remained was something new, something that felt stronger than just partnership or survival. Something like respect. Something like friendship. Aaron finally spoke. "So, what happens now?" Darren looked out the window at the stars returning to normal. "Now," he said, "we rebuild. Together. Because tonight, we became more than roommates. We became a team. And the universe is going to remember that." Aaron smiled softly. "Yeah, a team." And in the quiet glow of the recovering station, two very different beings sat shoulder to shoulder, no longer surprised by each other, but ready for whatever came next. HFY. Humanity F times, yeah. Asterisk, asterisk.